Hello everyone, this is Tony, the beardless one from Two Copper Pieces, and here I am painting some dramatic lighting effects on this snake god, which is from Steamforged Games, from the Temple of the Snake God. This is the follow-up to Lair of the Serpent Queen, something of the Serpent Queen, whatever it is. And you'll see here that I had a couple of shots where I took the video with my camera in the wrong orientation. Sorry about that. But yeah, do make sure that you brush your snake god's teeth, etc., etc. You saw the shot at the beginning showing the lighting effects that we're going for. Here I am just preparing the mini, washing it, getting all the factory residue off in a sort of slapdash, comically slapdash sort of way. I do actually take a bit more care of it, just trying to rush through it there. That's it. But yeah, I'm going to start by priming it in black. I've watched a few videos. The one by Lila Mev about OSL has been very useful, and some other one that I can't remember, also extremely useful, so thanks them. So I'll see if I can stick a link in the description below, so have a look out for that. But first, just priming in black, and as my understanding of it, the key to really quick and lazy source lighting, which is what I'm going for, is to really push the dark and light contrast. It's also the key to kind of good and professional and high quality source lighting, I think. But yeah, contrast is your friend here. So I'm painting most of this in, or basing most of this in black, the snake in black, the floor in black. But the bits that are going to be glowing, where the light is coming from, I'm going to be basing in white instead. So those pillars that the snake's wrapped around, the pillars on the floor, they've got some strange runes on them that are going to be glowing. They're going to be going slightly different colours. I'm also going to be basing the inside of the snake's mouth in white to suggest that there's some sort of fiery glow coming from there, like a dragon. Painting this up because I ran my party through the first box set that goes with this, the Snake Queen, Serpent Queen, whatever it is, and now they're going to be facing off against this thing. So I wanted to look impressive when I drop it on the table, and I wanted to do something a little bit different. I've seen a few good paint jobs of this which hit all of the scales and get the colors right and get the highlights right and all of that, but that seemed like it was going to take a long time, and I didn't want to take a long time. I wanted to try and do this quickly, make it look really impressive, but not spend ages on it. And actually, this was quite a quick paint job considering how effective it looks, or at least how effective I think it looks. And I'm sure some of you will agree it turned out pretty well, and some of you will think actually it could have turned out a lot better. But you know, each to their own. So there I've got the base coats on, using black to prime it, some black polyurethane primer and then white polyurethane primer. I don't really know what polyurethane is, but I know it's a good primer, and it coats the mini really nicely. Now dry brushing on some more white, which is where the glow is going to go. That's the glow from that particular, whatever that is, statue, plinth, I don't know, rune stone thing that it is. It's got some snakes on it, but yeah, it's going to be glowing, and everything that glow hits, I've tried to dust in white. I've also tried to dry brush or dust in white things that catch the glow from other stones. And now using some speed paint, just giving it a complete coat. It's a fairly sloppy, runny coat at the moment, but what I'm doing with the brush is I'm getting it all over it, and then I'm not letting it just sit in the cracks like you're supposed to do with speed paint. I'm just going to keep pushing it around. I'll probably then, yeah, there you go, with a bit less saturation in my brush, just get some pink all over the white there to reflect that glow a bit more, and the less paint hitting it is and I know what Lila Mev said, the further away from the source should have a bit less of a saturation, and that's going to make it look more effective. That's what I'm going for. So I'm getting the highest saturation on the source itself, and then trying to have less saturation the further away from the source I get. And I'm not making a special effort to make that work. I'm just kind of slopping it on the source quite heavily, and then gradually, as there's less and less paint on the brush and on my palette, I'm getting further away from the source of the light with that and trying to hit that. Here, some of the light is shining and hitting the floor and the surrounding areas as well. I'm getting these snakes that are on the source. I'm actually going to go over them in black later because they are sort of lounging over the source of light, so they will not actually be lit on the top. They'll be lit a little bit underneath, but not on the very top. I'm just going to leave them completely black on top. If I was going to do a thorough and good job, to like maybe a Lila Mev standard, or if I was aiming for a Lila Mev standard, I should say, I don't think I could achieve it myself, and not at this stage. But yeah, if I was aiming for that, I would probably paint the snakes a bit more like their original color, and then darken it down to get the contrast of light and dark. I'm just going to paint them black, as you'll see later, to really amplify that contrast in the easiest way possible and the quickest and most slapdash way I can. And like I said, I'm pretty happy with how it is going and how it turns out. For the amount of time and amount of work they've put in, it looks pretty good. I don't think it's perfect. I think there are places where I could have desaturated or saturated further, or added some height, maybe made certain areas lighter, certain areas darker. You'll see later, once it's all laid down, that I do go in with some highlights, I should say, highlights to catch the light a bit more. And I think that helps it pop, but overall, I think I've done a good job here. Now, the story behind the different colours. I'm sure you're very keen to know. There's no special story behind them. It's just that I think these are sort of based on Aztec sort of ruins and Aztec designs. The minis from the first box set all had these sort of designs on them, and I tried to use mainly gold with lots of reds and blues to paint over the top of those, similar to Aztec style. But with these, I just wanted the glow in there, so it meant I didn't have to worry about that so much, which was lovely. And I've got a little trick to get a bit more glow, a bit of a glow effect on there later. You see here, started for the mouth, because I want it to like fire, I've used yellow speed paint to start with, and then a bit more deliberately placed some orange speed paint to blend in. And now this is some red ink, which I'm trying to hit certain places to get a bit of a blend going. I'll go over this with a wet brush in a minute to try and get more of a blend, and I'll go back in with that yellow speed paint to reapply it to where I may have taken some off earlier. And not too worried about it. It's more to get that fiery look. Now, this is the tip to get a nice glow. Use some ink, water it down, probably not in the cap, and take some bad shots. If you get it really nice and watery, it will flow into the cracks and pool, a bit like how you might use a wash, in that you want the dark wash to flow in the shadows in the recesses. In this case, you want this light ink to pool in the shadows and be strongest, not in the shadows, but in the recesses, and strongest in the recesses, and slightly lighter around the edges. And it makes quite an easy, lazy glow effect, as you can see here. Now, I haven't done it perfectly, and it has run in a few places, but I'm not too worried about it. I don't think your eye just draws straight to the mistakes. I think your eye goes to the interesting glow effect, and your eye kind of makes up for the mistakes on its own. So, as you see here, nice and glowy. I think it works out pretty well, if I do say so myself. And a couple of shots, another shot here, bit glowy, glowy mouth, glowy stones, more glowy, glowy, glowy. All right, now here, this is how I did the highlights. I used these same colors, just popped a bit of white on my palette, and these speed paints, just dabbed a bit on my brush and mixed in with the white, and then tried to just catch the edges, a bit like a dry brush. I'm a bit too lazy to go like edge highlight properly and do the lines and stuff like that. So I just pulled the edges like I would with a dry brush. Same again with the sort of greeny turquoise color, and then same again with the pink color. Just grab a bit off the end there, mix it in with the white paint, stick on some highlights where it made sense to, much more on the creature itself rather than the source in this case. The source has the white for the in the recesses for the highlights there, and then a little bit more of that yellow to try and blend in where some of the red went into strange places and stuff like that. Need a bit less red, and you want it a bit more yellow to make it a bit more glowy. I think I probably could have made the mouth a bit brighter. I might have put some white in the center of the mouth in the deepest part to show where the glow is coming from, but I didn't do that, and never mind. You see here I'm painting this snake individually, and I quickly give up on that shortly when I grab my domed brush, and using this black ink I do just kind of dry brush it on there. Now ink isn't really designed for dry brushing, and yet it did an okay job, I would say. Just picking it up on the very tip, dab it off on the paper towel, and then lightly try and catch the top of the snake rather than going into the recesses, and do the same all the way around the base and all of the darker bits to make sure they're as dark as they can possibly be, or dark as they should be. Maybe kind of blend out some of that overspill of colour there, and really ramp up the contrast. Get the eyes in there, need the eyes done. A couple of white specks for the eyes as well. There we go. It'll do. Snake's got eyes, looks good. I would not want to meet this snake. Alright, here's the finished article. Hope you are impressed. If you think it's terrible and I've done a terrible job, please let me know. If you think it's good or anything that you like about it, let me know. Any questions, comments, insults, leave them below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with somebody if you think someone will get something out of it. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time.